Oh, hey there. It's hard to think that an entire decade had gone by in just the last 10 years. I want to remind you that God loves a good underdog story. Not just like you were down and out and you made it, but like you were down and out and you rose above and were victorious against your enemies. The Bible is filled with stories like that. So if you're feeling down and out, you feel like there's no hope for me, all the chips are down, this is unfair, my life shouldn't be this way, take another look. Hold out a little bit longer. Maybe give it to God. Maybe pray. Maybe pull back a little bit and let him do his work without having to be, a control freak or whatever. Just relax and trust that he's going to do something and watch the miracle unfold. Watch yourself rise above. So here's what happens. In storytelling and in screenwriting and book writing, okay, there's always an antagonist and a protagonist. The protagonist is your hero, and they could be good or bad. It doesn't really matter. It's just this is the person you're identifying with. The antagonist can be God against man, man against man, man against nature, man against himself, man against God. But there's some kind of conflict that in the first act, you're like, I want this to be resolved. And then you get into the meat of it, and you've set up where it's happening, when it's happening, who are the key players, and what's the problem. And then it goes blow for blow. Like, antagonist wins one, the protagonist wins one. And there's blow for blow, one after another, to the point where you're like, this is going nowhere, this will never end. And then it looks like the protagonist, our hero, loses, right? At some point, they lose. They take a step down. And then they realize, I'm gonna lose. And then something in their heart changes, and they just go, I know I'm gonna lose. I'm gonna sacrifice myself for the good of other people. And this is an important thing. Every good story comes from the one true story, and that's the gospel, and that's the story of us. That's the story of we were lost, and God came to save us while we were lost, and he took these hits. Every good story has these elements, and we identify with it in our heart. It speaks to us. Anyway, the protagonist realizes, I'm gonna self-sacrifice, I'm gonna lose, and there is no hope for me. And that's when they rise above, and this is called a character arc. They rise above, and they are now higher than the protagonist, to the point of it's just like shooting fish in a barrel. And then the protagonist continues to be selfish, continues to be seeking their own whatever, and prideful. And then the protagonist wins and is victorious. Somebody who had no hope whatsoever and was willing to give up everything to sacrifice himself, just like Jesus sacrificed himself for us. And then all of a sudden, that's when the magic happens. That's when the underdog rises, and that's when they become the hero. If you're down and out, don't you give up. You give God another chance. Love you guys.